In the 35 seasons that Simpsons been on, they have been no stranger to making holiday-themed episodes. Obviously, they do Halloween every year with the Treehouse episodes, but they will often have the family around the Christmas tree as well. Heck, they even started the series with a Christmas episode. They usually do them every other year, but they're currently in the longest gap in between Christmas episodes, since the 6 years between Season 1 and Season 7. In total, there have been 19 different Christmas episodes throughout the years. And what's a better thing to do this Christmas season than to watch all Christmas episodes and judge them? Now, what exactly is considered a Christmas episode is up for debate. What the Simpsons Wiki and Disney Plus seem to think is any episode that takes place during Christmas or has a Christmas reference is a Christmas episode, even if the plot has nothing to do with the holiday. This is what I'm going to be following for this video. So if you consider Die Hard and Home Alone Christmas movies, these are Christmas episodes. However, there are two episodes on their list that I'm not putting on mine. Those are Season 20's The Birds and the Bees and Season 29's Gone Boy. While both of these episodes reuse Christmas intros from previous seasons, that's all they have. The episodes aren't about Christmas, they don't take place during Christmas, or have Christmas references. Besides the senile grandpa talking about cutting down a Christmas tree in Gone Boy. Heck, while that one takes place in winter at least, the other episode is in summer going to fall. So yeah, these aren't Christmas episodes. With that being said, here are all the Christmas episodes ranked from worst to best. Spoilers. I'm going to start with an honorable mention. That being the Feliz Navidad short on Christmas Plus. It's just the Simpsons singing the song with Andrea Bocelli and his family. It's alright I guess, but doesn't warrant a ranking on this list. Now let's begin. Number 19 and the worst Christmas episode is The Fight Before Christmas. This is one of those non-Treehouse of Horror multi-story episodes. Instead of doing Halloween, they're doing Christmas. Which I actually think could be a good fit for the holiday, if it was any good. This episode is split up into 4 dreams: Bart, Lisa, Marge, and Maggie's. Bart is dreaming about going to the North Pole and shooting Santa for not getting a dirt bike. Honestly, the jokes are bad and the plot has a very lousy ending. With Bart ending his vendetta he had out of his dream by being tricked by Santa Krusty in his dream. That's just stupid. The Lisa dream has a much better story, but isn't funny. It involves Lisa dealing with trauma after Marge is dragged off to war while they're buying a Christmas tree. And that tree becomes a symbol of hope for her after Marge is declared MIA. It's a nice sentiment. That's completely undercut with Inglourious Basterds parody. Marge's dream has Martha Stewart coming to the house and saving Christmas, and is the only funny segment of this episode. Mostly because they don't pander to her and kiss her ass, like they do to other celebrities. Even in this episode, she's actually a menace who breaks in and wreaks havoc, and it's hilarious. The last dream is Maggie's, where everyone is a puppet. I see what they're trying to do here, parodying the Muppets, but it's just bad and cringy, and this episode gets a D for its trouble. Number 18 is The Nightmare After Christmas. The episode is about Krusty converting to Christianity to be a better father for his daughter. He is converted by Reverend Lovejoy, who is essentially forced to find someone to convert because attendance is lowering at church. There is also a B-plot involving Maggie being afraid of a creepy doll, called Gnome in the Home, a parody of the creepy doll Elf on the Shelf, which she proceeds to butcher and leave in her parents' bed. Hardcore. After becoming Christian, Krusty really overdoes it, to the point of annoyance. However, as he's being baptized on a frozen river, he gets trapped under ice, during which he hallucinates a hacky Frozen parody, where his father is the snowman. That tells him he just needs to put his daughter first to be a good father, not change his religion. Krusty is then saved by Reverend Lovejoy. Then he decides not to convert. But Reverend Lovejoy is deemed a hero, increasing his attendance at church. And Maggie continues her rampage of Gnome in the Home dolls. This is one of those episodes that we've seen before, where it seems like the writers have a disdain for Christianity and put it in the show, making for rather lame episodes, like this one. It's not that I'm offended or anything, they just write unfunny jokes and nonsensical plots. Like forcing Lovejoy to convert someone to increase attendance. What, to increase it by 1? It's dumb. The best part of the episode were the Maggie segments. Everything else was just meh. D. Number 17 is Simpsons Christmas Stories. This is another multi-story episode, which makes me rethink if this structure really works for Christmas. It's better than The Fight Before Christmas, but that's not a hard feat to accomplish. The first story is about the birth of Jesus, with the Simpsons characters replacing the actual ones. It was a fun retelling with a couple of good jokes. Nothing more, nothing less. The second story is Grandpa telling Bart and Lisa about how him and Mr. Burns were stranded on an island during World War II, where Grandpa saves Santa from Mr. Burns, then promises to come back for them, but he doesn't. It would have had a decent ending, with Grandpa receiving the pocket watch of his brother he thought died in the war. Unfortunately, it doesn't end there. Santa shows up and takes him to his brother, who apparently didn't die, but was just a dick who didn't contact his family for decades. This was an awful segment, with most of the jokes being not funny. The last part isn't actually a story, but 3 segments based on the songs from the Nutcracker. The first is the town singing about Christmas. We then see Moe failing to kill himself, before ending with Homer trying to get Marge a last minute Christmas present, and failing. He comes home defeated and opens Marge's present for him, which is a present for her because she knew he'd forget. It's a sweet ending to the segment and episode. So with one decent segment, a horrible one, and a good one, I'm giving this episode a C-. Number 16 is Grift of the Magi. This episode is about a company, Kids First Industries, taking over the school after it was closed down, from spending all its money on a shoddy handicap ramp made by the Mafia. The company uses the kids as a focus group to create the ultimate toy for Christmas shopping, Funzo, a parody of Furby. The toy turns out to kill any other toy besides Funzo, so Bart, Lisa, and Homer have to sneak into everybody's house and steal the Funzo under their Christmas tree. The plot is rather weak, with a random ending, where Mr. Burns and Moe show up for the Simpsons Christmas dinner, after parodying It's a Wonderful Life and A Christmas Carol. There are a couple good jokes in this episode, but it's few and far between. A lot of the episode feels rushed, like the show needed at least an hour to really solidify what they were going for. They were trying to make Funzo come off as ominous, but we really saw it doing anything like that once. This episode gets a C. Number 15 is I Won't Be Home for Christmas. The episode is about, as the title implies, Homer not making it home for Christmas. First he had to stay late at work. Then Moe makes Homer swerve into a snow pile in front of the bar, so Homer goes in for a drink. Afterwards, Moe begs Homer to stay with him. Moe then tricks Homer to stay longer, setting the clock back by hours. When he finally gets home, Marge is so furious she kicks him out of the house, leaving Homer to wander Springfield. It doesn't take long for Moe to show up, and confess he was the reason Homer was late. Marge then tries to call Homer, but he left his phone in his car, which was just towed away. The rest of the family then trek out looking for Homer, while he is roaming the city trying to find some place that's open. He makes his way over to the Springfield Heights Mall and has a small heart-to-heart with Ned Flanders, before going to a Christmas party with mall workers. Soon enough, the family finds him and everyone is back together for Christmas. We then get a short but fun scene of Bart and Lisa opening presents, before Homer and Marge get out of bed, which is undercut by ending with a bitter Jesus on his birthday. All in all, it's a decent episode. Some nice jokes, some nice moments, but honestly, it's a middle-of-the-road Simpsons episode. C+. Number 14 is Miracle on Evergreen Terrace. This episode is about Bart being impatient for Christmas, sneaking downstairs when everyone's asleep and opening his presents early, where he accidentally burns their plastic tree, which melts, absorbing all the presents, essentially ruining Christmas. He covers up what he did and claimed they were robbed. This causes the town to come together and support them, giving them money, which they use to buy a new car. That gets destroyed almost immediately. Bart's lie is then revealed when Ken Brockman shows up, causing the town to turn against them, until they decide to rob everything in their house, leaving them with only a washcloth, which they proceed to play with as a family. Happy ending, I guess? While the episode has funny jokes, the episode is just negative, with bad things continuing to happen to the family. Christmas is ruined, their new car is destroyed, they're shunned by the town, and robbed blind by them, which was just a weak ending. The family didn't have to do anything for the town to like them again. They tried with Jeopardy but failed. Then they were just robbed. At least they ended it with the family being joyful and Bart showing regret for his actions. C+. Number 13 is Holidays of Future Past. As you can tell by the title, this is one of the future episodes. I love the way they show you the future. It's a fun transition with a Christmas photo every year. This episode is about everyone coming together for the holidays after many years apart. Lisa and Bart with their children, along with a pregnant Maggie, who actually only shows up at the end because of giving birth. The central focus is on Lisa trying to spend time with her daughter, who seemingly doesn't want anything to do with her, and spends all day jacked into cyberspace. Meanwhile, Homer is spending time with Bart's children, because Bart is a bad dad. Lisa and Bart then have a heart-to-heart in his treehouse about being better parents. Lisa jacks into cyberspace and finds out her daughter has a lot in common with her, and Zia even has a poster of Lisa on her wall, along with seemingly her heroes, while Bart goes looking for his kids, who Homer has taken to see Grandpa, in a cryolab. He unfreezes Grandpa, who just rants before being frozen again, showing the kids that everyone thinks their dad is a jerk, but they love them anyway. Bart then comes in and swears to be a better dad, telling them they're the only good things in his life. Then they hug. Then Homer unfreezes Grandpa, and they hug too. Then we see everyone together at home when Maggie comes in with her baby, who looks just like her mother. It's always fun to see future episodes, seeing what Springfield looks like and where the characters are now. Unfortunately, while the episode was fine, the plot falls short. Lisa's part felt rushed. Just having a simple conversation with her daughter, not even needing a heart-to-heart or something. While Homer did all the heavy lifting in repairing Bart's relationship with his sons. But it was still a good episode. B-. Number 12 is Kill Gil, Volume 1 and 2. This episode is about Gil getting fired from his job after giving Lisa a gift intended for his boss's daughter. So the Simpsons offer him a place to stay for the holidays, and then he just doesn't leave. They show holiday by holiday of him being a rude, inconsiderate jackass who causes turmoil for the family, especially Marge. And when she's ready to tell him off, he's gone. But after all the distress he caused her for nearly a year, she needs to tell him off, which she does after tracking him down to Scottsdale. Unfortunately, when she does it, it's at his work where he becomes a laughingstock and gets fired, causing Marge to feel bad, and the cycle repeats. So essentially, Gil did one good thing in this episode, and is a prick through the rest of it. Then when he gets his comeuppance, it ends bad for the Simpsons, making the comeuppance meaningless, and the family just takes L after L. The saving grace of this episode is that it's hilarious, with the MVP going to the Grumble, who essentially plays a role similar to the chicken for Family Guy. And I love it. With these two elements mixing, I give it a B. Number 11 is Skinner's Sense of Snow, which is about the school staying open during a massive blizzard. However, most kids and all the teachers do not show up for it, leaving Principal Skinner with a single classroom of students along with groundskeeper Willie. Skinner plays a Christmas movie for the kids, the weirdest and crummiest movie you could think of, making it freaking hilarious for the audience, but not so much for the kids. After the movie, everyone finds out that they're trapped within the school. Skinner tries to take control of the kids like a drill sergeant, but is overthrown and trapped in a dodgeball sack. Meanwhile, Homer and Flanders check out to save the kids, which they do, by crashing into a salt silo, after crashing into a fire hydrant, and almost dying by car exhaust fumes. Only surviving because of the school hamster Nibbles. Thanks, Nibbles. This is a good episode. Not great, but good. I enjoyed the plot of the kids taking over the school, along with a couple of funny jokes here and there. It's a solid B. Number 10 is Bobby, It's Cold Outside. This episode is about a porch pirate who's going around stealing everyone's Christmas presents, with the only clue being Lenny leaving their initials in blood, which Bart blames Sideshow Bob. who is working at Santa's village as the skinniest Santa since Kurt Russell, which was only a year before, but whatever. Good movies though, go check them out. Bart breaks into Santa's village to uncover evidence, only finding Bob, who just wants to be left alone. Bart says he'll do that if Bob helps find SB, which Bob agrees. Bob hides himself in a box and is left on a porch to be stolen while the family follows, which works out, discovering that SB is Smithers and Burns. Burns did this so everyone would feel a Christmas heartbreak, like he did when he was a boy. He just wanted affection from his parents but got shipped off to boarding school on Christmas Day. Then they died. After hearing that, Santa Bob sits him down and tells him his parents did love him by making him strong, which makes Burns have a change of heart and he gives back all the presents. The episode ends with an obnoxious Steve Ballmer segment. You know, Simpsons, maybe you should take a note from me and Malcolm. Just because you can get Steve Ballmer doesn't mean you should. Besides that, the episode was pretty good. It's always fun seeing Sideshow Bob, and it was a solid outing for him. The episode unfortunately only had a few good jokes, but the story made up for it well. I give it a B. Number 9 is White Christmas Blues. This episode has a new Christmas theme intro, which I just love, and has appeared in nearly every Christmas episode since, with minor alterations. So, because of global warming, there is no snow anywhere, except in Springfield, because of the fumes from the power plant and tire fire. But no one cares about that, and the town becomes a massive tourist destination. So the town decides to price gouge everything, causing Marge to be unable to afford anything for Christmas, leading her to rent out the house as a bed and breakfast, which she starts getting annoyed from the people who just keep complaining and demanding things from her. Eventually, she snaps at them, even going as far as to tell one of them that her uncle died in their bed. Meanwhile, Lisa tries to get family presents with more thought and care in them. However, those thoughts are more for herself than the family, like getting Homer seeds, and she gives Bart a book. Really? Yeah, this was just self-centered. She then gets upset when they don't like the presents. However, she gets called out on what she did after finding Bart burning the book. She then gets him a tablet instead. Now that's a nice gift. At the end of the episode, Marge apologizes for snapping at her customers, and they sing her a Christmas carol. It was a good episode. The plot wasn't the best, but not bad. It did have a lot of funny moments though. I absolutely love the Baby Jesus segment. B+. Number 8 is She of Little Faith. This episode is about Lisa questioning her faith when Mr. Burns repairs the church after it is destroyed in exchange for commercializing it. She starts looking into other faiths until she comes across a Buddhist temple and changes her religion after talking to Richard Gere. Yay. This causes conflict between Lisa and her family, most notably Marge, who tries to use Christmas to convert her back to Christianity, which is just messed up. But almost works, until Richard Gere tells her that Buddhists can celebrate Christmas, and everyone is happy. To me, being a Buddhist is one of Lisa's most memorable traits, so I'm surprised it came so late, being in season 13. I thought this was in the golden era, like when Maud Flanders died, or Apu and Manjula's octuplets being born. Wait, those are both in season 11? In all honesty, I can see if this episode rubs some people the wrong way. Talking about any religion can cause that sort of issue. To me though, unlike what the title implies, Lisa didn't actually lose faith in religion or God. She goes as far to state that in the episode. She loses faith in the overly commercialized church, ruled by Mr. Burns. This episode had a lot of good jokes though, especially in the beginning involving the rocket ship, and we see the return of the hamster Nibbles. However, I found the Richard Gere appearance more cringy than interesting. Also, Marge trying to bribe Lisa to be Christian was just bad, and the churchgoers seeing Buddhism as evil was weird, acting like Lisa became a witch or something. She doesn't do that until season 21. As for this episode, it's a B+. Number 7 is a Springfield Summer Christmas for Christmas. This is easily one of the weirdest episodes The Simpsons ever made. The whole episode is a parody of cheesy Hallmark Christmas movies, focused on a Hallmark movie producer making a Christmas movie in Springfield, who falls in love with Skinner, serving as a cliche love interest. Unlike those movies, the episode is actually funny, There are some lame and corny jokes, but that's when they're copying things you hear in those movies. The biggest hang-up for the episode is the main character, this movie producer. She copies Hallmark beat by beat, and I find her bland and uninteresting. But that's the point. Luckily, they subvert the norm and not have Skinner end up with her, which I'm happy for. I don't think I could deal with this woman being a common character. This episode is hard to grade. It's hokey and formulaic like a Hallmark movie, but great at the parody of one. In the end, I did enjoy the episode. It was weird, but fun. A-. Number 6 is 'Tis the 30th Season. The episode starts with the kids wanting only one thing for Christmas. A super expensive TV! Luckily, there is a Black Friday sale for it, which causes Marge to suffer in the snow, thanks to Homer being knocked out. And sadly, she doesn't get the TV, because she helps Gil get a present for his granddaughter. Another Christmas ruined by Gil. After seeing what Marge had to go through to get the TV, the rest of the family planned a Christmas vacation for her in Florida, at the Kissimmee St. Nick Resort, which is not what it appeared to be in the ad. But they strive to make the trip fun for Marge's sake. As they struggle to enjoy themselves, Marge tells them, "This trip sucks," and they head back home for Christmas. Unfortunately, their car breaks down, and they have to trek in the snow to the first building they find, which is Moe's, who's serving a really nice Christmas dinner for his customers. And they have a Merry Christmas, and were able to get the TV. After Bart traumatized the owner of the resort, who paid them to leave her alone. A Merry Christmas indeed. This was a great episode with some great jokes. And it's really nice to see the family trying hard to make Marge happy, who is often neglected. This episode fully deserves an A. Number 5 is Manger Things. In this episode, Marge tells a story that happened 6 years ago, when Homer is kicked out of the house on Christmas after ruining an office party. He is then taken in by Flanders, where Maude is expecting with Todd. It's interesting to learn that Todd is 6. I thought he was at least Lisa's age. But no, he's a first grader apparently. While at the Flanders house, Homer really rubs Maude the wrong way and she kicks him out, causing Homer to break into his house and live in the garage's attic. While there, he overhears in the vents that Marge will take him back if he does one good thing. He tries to make Christmas cookies, but that fails. He then hears Maude having contractions. With Ned out doing charity, Homer helps Maude deliver Todd. And in honor of his help, they give Todd the middle name of Homer. This is a very sweet episode that shows a deeper connection Homer has to the Flanders, especially Maude, which kinda makes it bittersweet and awkward, since Homer is partially responsible for Maude's death, and has mocked her death on multiple occasions. If you look at it through an echo chamber, ignoring other episodes, it's great, but it's hard ignoring that. It is a really good episode though, with a nice story and lots of good jokes. I would consider it one of the best, if that sourness wasn't lingering. A. Number 4 is Marge Be Not Proud. The episode centers around Bart stealing the fighting game Bone Storm, which just looks like a Mortal Kombat knockoff. I'd rather play the other game in the commercial. You get to fight as a tank. Because of the theft, Marge is disappointed in him and stops treating him like a child, leaving Bart dealing with inner turmoil until he makes it up to her by giving her a sweet Christmas present, which is a nice photo of him since he always messes up the family photos, giving her a Merry Christmas in the process. One thing I liked about the episode is Marge actually responding to Bart's bad behavior. Usually it seems like he gets away with most things with no consequences. Special shout out to Detective Don Brodka, who I think is one of the best one-time characters ever on the show. Overall, it was a fun, hilarious episode with many great jokes and a solid, sweet ending. It's easily one of the best episodes of the show. A+. Number 3 is Way of the Dog. This episode follows Santa's little helper, who seems to have some trauma involving Santa's hat. They take him to a dog psychologist who's giving a lecture. She comes off like a jerk, but gets better in the episode. They meet her in the parking lot and Lisa says, "Help our dog or let's do this." Hell yeah, Lisa, let's go, hold her pearls. She initially refuses to help them, but eventually changes her mind. While testing the dog, she figures out that something's up with the hat, which is the same hat Bart wore in episode 1 when they got Santa's Little Helper. And I just have to say, that was a really cool throwback. We find out that the dog's former owner took him from his mother when he was a puppy to be a racing dog. They confront the owner and smack him up. Then we see Santa's Little Helper reunited with his mother. In a moment that's so sweet it brought a tear to my eye. I saw a lot of heartfelt moments while making this video, but this easily was the best. It was beautiful. This was a great episode. I love seeing things from Santa's Little Helper's perspective. And while it did focus a lot on a celebrity voiced actor, the celebrity wasn't playing themselves, which is a nice change of pace. Especially since I watched the episode with Steve Ballmer before this one. This episode definitely gets an A+. Number 2 is Simpsons roasting on an open fire. What can I say about this episode that hasn't already been said? Literally, by me. I made an entire video about how good this episode is. Go watch it. This episode is about Homer getting a part-time job as mall Santa to make money for Christmas, as he didn't get a Christmas bonus this year. And they had to spend their savings removing a tattoo from Bart. Unfortunately, the job doesn't pay well, so they risk it all at the dog track, and lose. But they don't go home empty-handed, as this is where they receive Santa's Little Helper, who is seen as a great Christmas present for the family. This episode is the quintessential Simpsons Christmas episode. So much so, they didn't even bother making a Christmas episode for 6 years after this one. It has a heartfelt story, plenty of jokes, and plays on many Christmas tropes. There are better episodes on this list that I ranked lower, but for being a Christmas episode, this firmly deserves the number 2 slot. A+. Now I know what you're thinking. What in the world could possibly beat what I said was a quintessential Simpsons Christmas episode? Well, this might come as a surprise to some, but number 1 is "'Tis the 15th Season." This episode is about Homer being a selfish jerk on Christmas, giving crummy presents to his friends and family while buying a cheap Christmas tree, and getting himself a talking golden astrolabe. After being called out and shamed by his family, he is forced to sleep on the couch, where he watches a cartoon of A Christmas Carol, and decides to turn a new leaf, being nice and helping the town. He donates to the homeless, helps out at the church, builds a skating rink for the town in the backyard, and gives Marge the last pork chop, which really means a lot to her. All the good deeds Homer is doing causes Flanders to become jealous of him, so he tries to one-up him by giving everyone in town a Christmas present, which causes Homer to try to one-up Flanders by robbing everyone in town. After misunderstanding what Lisa said about Christmas being too materialistic. Yeah, this doesn't go well. Homer expects the town to be like Whoville and the Grinch, but instead, they throw snowballs. But this plan does work out in the end, as it brings the town together and they become festive after seeing the Star of Bethlehem in the sky. Or what they think is the Star of Bethlehem. Sorry, Mole Man. Then Homer and Ned hand out everyone's gifts. The wrong gifts, but hey, it's the thought that counts, right? Then it ends with everyone singing Glory to the Newborn King. This is a really sweet and touching episode, not to mention absolutely hilarious. And it gets you into the festive Christmas mood from the very beginning, lasting throughout the episode. It's interesting that this episode is within the jerk-ass Homer era, and Homer gets called out for being said jerk-ass, and changes his way, being a good person. It was nice to see. This is not only one of the best episodes in the show's history, but hands down the single best Christmas episode of The Simpsons. If you were going to watch any Simpsons Christmas episode, make it this one. A+. And that's the list. If you have a different number 1, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.